Hi, Beast of Buckingham Palace, Chapter 9, Festering. Do you remember they met Mite, the little girl, under the dust sheet in the room next to the library, but then she just disappeared. Perhaps she was a ghost after all. What a nasty little wretch was Nanny's verdict. She was just hungry, reasoned Alfred. She's a thief, young man, and thieves like her belong in the tower. The prince wasn't so sure. She was only a child, just like him, and she was hungry. It wasn't right that people of Britain lived like that. Now, my little prince, we need you to get back to your bedroom. Alfred didn't want to go back. Being in his bedroom was boring, and he'd got detective work to do. Not now, Nanny. Yes, now. The question is how. Alfred peered around the room of junk and spotted a bicycle. I could cycle back. Nanny didn't look convinced. Do you even know how to ride a bike? No. Well, I would say no then. Not really time for lessons right now. No. The pair fell silent for a moment before the old lady exclaimed, "Ha-ha! Nanny has an idea, and it's a good one." What? Hide in that old pram. The pram? Now it was Alfred's turn to look unconvinced. Yes, I'm not getting into a pram. You never used to complain. Well, that's because that was when I was a baby. What use is a pram anyway? I can pretend I'm using it to wheel some clean blankets up to your bedroom. At this late hour, I'll just say you've wet the bed. Alfred was not impressed. He hadn't wet the bed for, well, a very long time. He peered into the pram. It was full of festering old blankets that must have been damp for decades. Now they had things growing on them, and the things growing on them had things growing on them, and the things growing on them had things growing on them too. In there? He said, incredulous. Yes, in there. You mean actually inside the pram? Yes, of course inside, you great nit. But it stinks. Stinky is better than dead. Now come on, climb in. In truth, the smell was rank, which was much higher up the stinky scale than stinky, and the old lady smiled an expectant smile. Alfred sighed, and with real difficulty he clambered into the pram. It was so tight that his knees were wedged up against his chin. What's more, I don't think I can say that. What's more, it was even pondocious than he had first thought. Didn't think I was going to be able to say that word then, but there he is in the pram, all the stinky smell coming up. The smell was positively medieval, which may have been the era when those blankets had last been washed. "I'm in," said Alfred, covering up his mouth for fear he might be sick. "I better cover you up," said Nanny, pulling a musty old blanket over his head. Now he really felt like he might barf. So, Alfred, remember not to sneeze, cough, or you know what, ordered Nanny. No, I don't know what. Bottom Bert. Oh, yeah. Or you'll give the game away. Ready, my little prince? No, he replied, pulling the cover back. "Ah," cooed Nanny, "you look just like you did when you were a baby." Alfred didn't find that in the least bit amusing. "The Lord Protector," he remembered. "He locked my door from the outside. We won't be able to get in." "Don't you worry, Nanny always carries a spare key," she said, fishing it out of her cardigan pocket. Clever Nanny. "Now come on, little baby, back to sleep." She snorted to herself with her teeth going clickety-clack in her mouth. In a grump now, Alfred pulled the revolting blanket back over his head. As soon as he had, the old lady wheeled the pram to the correct spot on the floor of the junk room. She turned the hand of the carriage clock anti-clockwise, and the pair spun back round into the library. Chapter 10, Metal Menace. I'll carry on. Looking up from the pram, Alfred asked, "What book was that person looking for at this late hour?" "I don't have a clue," said Nanny. "You were looking for a book here in the library too, Nanny." "Was I?" "Yes, what was the name of it?" "Shh, shush, Nanny, or someone will hear us." With that, she wheeled the pram out of the library and down one of the palace's long sweeping corridors. The wonky wheel made it difficult to steer, and it kept going squeak, squeak, squeak. And Nanny kept on bashing the pram into the wall. Bonk! "Ow!" complained the boy. "Shh! Shush, Nanny," again, louder this time. The shush was so loud it was hardly a shush at all. Squeak! 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 Bash into the wall. Squeak! And again. Alfred grimaced. At this rate, he'd be lucky to get back to his bedroom alive. Next, he heard the sound of something trundling. Oh no, he thought. Not the Octobot. That's the last thing they needed right now. "Good morning, Archbishop," the robot announced. "Will you be quiet, you blasted thing?" hissed Nanny. "I have warmed your socks so they're nice and toasty." The boy thought he could smell burning. "Out of my way, you metal menace," said the old lady. Crash! Next, Alfred could feel the wheels of the pram bump over something. Clank! Something metal. He looked past Nanny and saw that the accident-prone robot had lost yet another one of his arms. The one with the little spoon attached for stirring the tea was now lying twitching on the floor. Twitch, twitch. There it is. The arm with the spoon. Down to 5 arms now, the Octobot could now be called a quinquibot, but that just sounded silly. It's so silly to say. "I will post your boiled egg onto you," it called out after them. "Shush!" shushed Nanny again before pushing the prince's head back into the pram. "Get down!" As he was wheeled around the palace, Alfred listened intently. He was trying to work out from the sounds around him exactly where he was. All of a sudden, he could feel the pram being heaved up the sweeping staircase that led all the way from the bottom of the palace to the top. There he is, coming down the staircase. Shunt, shunt, shunt. "We're never going to make it. I said shush. Shunt, shunt, shunt. Nanny, I'm scared you're going to let go." "I will if you don't shut up." "There must be 100 stairs," he protested. "Shh, someone might hear you." Shunt, shunt, shunt. Down the stairs. Now they were halfway up the staircase, and all of a sudden Alfred heard a voice. "Nanny," said the voice. Not just any voice. It was the Lord Protector's voice. Chapter 11. An Ungodly Hour. "Nanny, what are you doing out of your room at such an ungodly hour?" purred the Lord Protector. "I'm just bringing up some clean blankets, sir," the old lady replied. Inside the pram, Alfred kept dead still. He could hear in her voice that Nanny was nervous. Her false teeth were clickety-clacking in her mouth even more than normal. "Who were you talking to?" said the Lord Protector. "Myself," she chirped. "I'm a bit balmy like that. Now, I must be going." "Shunt, shunt, shunt." "Wait," called out the man. "What have you got in that pram?" Alfred didn't dare breathe. "Fresh blankets," she replied. The Lord Protector caught up with her and leaned down and sniffed. "They don't smell very fresh," was his verdict. "Well," Nanny hesitated for a moment, buying herself some time, "they're fresher than the ones I'm changing them for." And there he is, with Nanny on the stairs with the blankets in the pram. "I find that rather difficult to believe." "Oh, yes, yes, Lord Protector, sir. It's the prince." "What's the prince?" How can I put this nicely? He wet the bed." Inside the pram, the prince was seething. "At his age?" asked the Lord Protector. "Well, it's been a very difficult night for him with that terrible business with the Queen." Yes, mused the Lord Protector. "What rotten luck having a traitor for a mother." Alfred wanted to leap out of the pram and biff the man on the nose, but he stayed put. The truth was, he was stuck. "I've taken the precaution of putting the palace on total lockdown tonight," continued the Lord Protector. No one is allowed out of bed. Not even the king himself. So, as soon as you've changed those blankets, I want you to go straight back to your quarters. Do you understand me?" "Yes, sir." "Good. For his own safety, I've locked the boy's bedroom door. Here is the key, and when you've locked him back in for the night, bring it straight back to me." "Yes, sir." "Now run along, woman," he ordered. "Very good, sir." Alfred listened as the Lord Protector's footsteps echoed down the stairs. "That was close," hissed the boy from inside the pram. "I know," whispered Nanny. Never mind about you doing a bottom burp. I was so nervous I thought I was going to let one rip that sounded like thunder." "Too much information, Nanny." "A honking hurricane." Again, Nanny. "Too much." "A Trump tornado." "I've got it, Nanny." "A bottom blizzard." "I've got it, Nanny. Now let's get going." "Oh, yes." With that, Nanny continued heaving the pram up the staircase. Shunt, shunt, shunt. He could hear the old lady breathing heavily. "Are you all right, Nanny?" asked Alfred, poking his head out from under the blankets. "Yes, I just need to take a rest." The boy watched as her nose began to wrinkle. Are you okay? It's these rotten blankets. I think I'm going to achoo! Sneeze. She lifted her hands up to her face and let go of the pram. Nanny! Cried the boy as the pram began bouncing down the staircase. Don't. The runaway pram. Chapter 12. Just looking at the time. I'll carry on. I've got time to do one more. The runaway pram was gathering speed, going whooshing down those staircases. Don't, no! Cried Nanny from the stairs, up at the stairs. Yes! Cried Alfred from inside the pram, not sure what else to say. Nanny began running down the staircase after him, but the pram was going so much faster. Don't. Alfred looked up from under the blanket. 2 royal guards were on patrol at the bottom of the stairs. If he didn't die in a pram crash, they were sure to blast him to pieces with their laser guns. Help! Shouted Nanny. Don't. The pram was heading straight for the guards. No, thought Alfred. He closed his eyes, ready for the worst. Don't. Then stop. The pram came to a halt. The guards had caught it. Oh, thank you, cooed Nanny. Thank you so much. Alfred opened his eyes. He was alive. Now, if you could just carry it back up the stairs for me. The prince thought the old lady might be pushing her luck, but to his surprise, he felt the pram being lifted and carried upstairs. Oh, you are strong, said Nanny admiringly. And finally, they reached the top of the staircase. Thank you kindly, said Nanny, and the 2 royal guards made their way back down the stairs. There they are, helping Nanny carrying the pram back up. You nearly killed me, hissed Alfred. Shh, said Nanny. Nanny pushed the pram along the corridor towards the prince's bedroom, and with the key the Lord Protector had given her, she unlocked the door and wheeled the pram inside. As soon as Alfred heard the door shut behind him, he pulled back the rancid blanket and clambered out of the pram. Right, young man, any time now, said Nanny. Oh, you're out already. That was naughty. Now get straight into bed. I'm lucky to be alive. Yes, I'm very sorry about that. I just had an attack of the achoo sneezes. The prince wiped a globule of Nanny's cold, wet snot from his face. But thank you for covering for me with the Lord Protector. I know you could get into a lot of trouble. Anything for my little prince, she said, wobbling his cheek with her hand. Wibble, wobble, wibble. Now, please give me the key, demanded the boy. I beg your pardon, spluttered Nanny. The key the Lord Protector gave you. Then I can get out of my room later tonight to do some more detective work. You will do no such thing, your Royal Highness. I command you to give it to me. Nanny was having none of it. And I command you to go to bed. Right now. Reluctantly, Alfred got into his 4-poster bed. He sniffed himself. Phew, he exclaimed. After hiding under those filthy blankets, he did not smell very good at all. I am whiffy. Then stop sniffing yourself, ordered Nanny, and go to sleep. With her fingertips, she tenderly stroked his hair. Good night, little one. I love you. I love you too, Nanny. Sleep tight. Alfred closed his eyes and listened as she tiptoed out of the room and locked the door behind her. Click. Sleep? That was the last thing Alfred wanted to do right now. His brain was bubbling with 1 billion thoughts, but he was exhausted. This sickly child had never been out of his bed for this long, and the events of the last few hours had left him feeling spent, and soon Alfred fell asleep, slipping from one world of nightmares to another. And then it'll be on to chapter 13, Talking Toilet. I have no idea what that chapter could be about. Certainly sounds interesting. So I'll see you in chapter 13. Take care.